Ladies and gentlemen, I'll open the workshop Thursday, November 30th, 2017. It is 5 p.m. I'll take a roll call. Trustee Cruden is here. Trustee Desmond is here. Trustee Finnerty is here. Trustee Gerlich is absent. Trustee Lawande is absent. Trustee Nunez is here. Trustee Ryan is here. Vice President Wilbeck and President Broderick are all here. At this time, we're going to adjourn to a closed session for legal, personnel, negotiation items. The board will return to the open workshop. It is 5:01.
Anything here too.
It is 6:02.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, what about them?
No, here's the tuition rate right here.
I will take a roll call.
So there are no,
Trustee
this is only if
Cruden
there's
here.
additional, whether it's speech,
Trustee
PT,
Desmond
electric.
is
that
here.
should have-
Trustee Finnerty is here.
You good?
Trustee Gerlich is here. Trustee Lawande is here. Trustee Nunez.
I am here.
Trustee Ryan is here. Vice President Wilbeck and President Broderick are both here.
She's in the building. See? She's in the building. And she's on stage there.
Good evening, everyone. This month I met individually with all principals to conduct their Marshall Evaluation rubric. This is the principals evaluations which are due each year. The rubric gives the principals and other school-based administrators an assessment of where they stand in all performance areas, as well as a detailed guidance for improvement. I focused on our PARC scores and federal accountability profiles. The principals discussed their PARC participation rates, achievement, proficiency, student growth, chronic absentees, and in the high school only, the graduation rate. But the attendance was for all grade levels. It was an opportunity for me to be provided with a district snapshot to see where we shine and where we need to provide some support. The first 2 full-day staff training and development days are complete. The upload of demographic information has taken place for the park, and principals are in the process of certifying teacher-student growth percentiles. And final summative evaluations for the 2016-17 school year. These were a few of the major initiatives that the Office of Curriculum and Instruction has been working on for the first 3 months of the school year. Dr. Degnan will now give us an update for the month of December. Dr. Degnan?
Thank you, Dr. Wanko. Good evening, trustees. Just some items that we're looking forward to for December. On Wednesday, there is a resolution in your packet this evening where we have George Scott to talk about suicide awareness. As you know, that the searches on the Chromebooks have been up 300%. George Scott is a therapist working out at, formerly at Rutgers University, and he does work out in the state. We'll be working with our guidance counselors, child study teams, and student center. And also, he'll be working with our leadership team of principals, assistant principals, and supervisors. We will also have a visit from our Achieve New Jersey, that's the Observation Evaluation Implementation Manager for the North District, for the NJBOE. That's Mr. Paul Pallett. He's going to talk about the changes that are going to be taking place with CUSAC with respect to teacher and principal observation. And just going through the departments in English Language Arts, we will be having our spelling bee in December. If anybody's available, that will be December 12th at Henry Harris. Civics is alive in the Bayonne School District with social studies. We have our We the People presentations taking place right now. We will be having in January an I Learn America through the high school. That's a story of students coming to America for the first time. And actually today, a bunch of our students from the high school went to Rutgers for a Model UN conference. In the area of science, our students are working towards the STEM Showcase, which was formerly the Hudson County Science Fair. There's a project called Project Innovate, where 3 students are selected to work on projects. In the area of counseling, we're going to have David Nash, who's a well-renowned attorney, come in and talk to our counselors next Friday on student records and confidentiality. And in the area of technology, we're in the process of rolling out Chromebooks to the elementary, and hopefully by the end of next week, all schools will be fully loaded with With respect to our full-day pre-K, Dr. Tinsley, our liaison from NJDOE, completed her second visit with the Bayonne Board of Ed, and then she visited 2 schools, Henry Harris and Lincoln Community School, and she left some suggestions. One that I found was rather interesting. She wanted those students outside at recess time. She wanted them out in the cold unless there was any advisory. She thought it was important that the students would be getting some fresh air, so that was one of her recommendations. In math, we continue with we talked about this last month, it's the fall block of the park assessment that will be taking place in the winter. And our Gateways to STEM kicked off, and I know I shared that with you we shared that with you last month. I do have a copy of the park schedule for the year, and I'll ask Dr. Maida to hand that out for your review, and I'll send that home with your packet. And just finally, just some holiday events. This weekend is the play. There will be a tree lighting at 47th Street and Broadway on December 4th. And if you're there, it will be our elementary band from Woodrow Wilson and our choirs from Horace Mann and Washington School. Henry Harris will be having tree lighting on December 5th. Our high school guitar ensemble will be at the museum on December 7th. And the winter concert for Bayonne High School will take place on the 14th. So a lot going on in the area of curriculum instruction, and I will share all these events with you in tomorrow's update. Any questions for me? Yeah, I will send these tomorrow, an email form.
Thank you, Dr. Tate.
Hey, Gary, one more when you get a chance.
Yeah, I'm coming around.
All right, as you know, the Bayonne Board of Education started using the Safe Schools online program this is September. The program has not only been a great success, it is also free to the district. Mr. Lopez will give us an update on that and also on an upcoming training. I was fortunate enough to have met with the Hudson County prosecutor, and they are willing to come in and give us some free training as well. And Mr. Lopez has been coordinating that for the next leadership team meeting. Mr. Lopez?
Thank you, Dr. Wanko. As the superintendent just stated, this is our first year using the Safe Schools online system for trainings, and I'm excited to tell you that as of today, we have trained over 1,100 of our employees using the system, and the transition to Safe Schools has been real smooth. Administrators, teachers, secretaries, and teacher assistants receive their state mandatory training, and we have also run 2 whole-day professional days using Safe Schools for our teacher assistants. One of the state mandatory trainings for all administrators is gang awareness. All administrators in the state of New Jersey have to be trained annually on this topic. On December 12th, the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office will present to our leadership team, and as always, we value the relationship we have with the Prosecutor's Office and thank them for setting up this training for us. And if any of the board members have any suggestions about future trainings, we can find if we have one for that topic available on safety.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Any questions for Mr. Lopez?
Thank you.
All right. As I had mentioned at our last meeting, I have serious concerns regarding the audit report, specifically the fact that the commissioner wants to send a monitor to our district. Therefore, we sent a request to the commissioner to rescind this recommendation, as we have already taken the necessary steps to bring us back to fiscal stability. So hopefully they will revisit that particular recommendation and reverse it. Tonight, we will have representatives from the state to present their findings and answer questions from the board. Mr. Smith will introduce them at our open meeting. For now, he will provide us with an update on some remedial construction projects and the extended feeding program that I introduced to the district a few months ago. Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Dr. Wanko. Bailey School, as you know, we've replaced the sidewalk on the 10th Street side. It was probably the original sidewalk that came with the building. It was pitted and marred, and so our own construction crew went down there. We did it in-house, and very happy with the outcome. Also, the gym divider that you approved a couple meetings ago at number 8 Midtown Community School, that project has been completed, and the money that we garnered through the safety grant will utilize some of that funding to offset that expense. This allows us to split that gymnasium right down the middle. We can hold two events simultaneously. If we have to shelter in place, it also helps us as a safety aspect. And the extended feeding program, as Dr. Wanko mentioned, that he instituted, we are in numbers 9 and 10 school right now. Those students on weekends and holidays have been receiving bags from the New Jersey Food Bank, and our vendors have been participating. We are now expanding to number 2, Vroom School, number 4, Donahue School, and number 5, Lincoln Community School. And we will work our way up to as many schools as we can. The students are picked on the basis of the master eligibility list, the MEL list, which means that they are eligible for free lunch and SNAP benefits, supplemental nutritional assistance program through the state. So we're very happy to be able to give our students some food products to take home and can be utilized. Yes, because
How could they get it for the holidays and weekends?
they're giving it on Thursdays. We go to the food bank. We send our food service trucks out there, and with Washington and Wilson School, we had approximately 140 eligible students. So we picked up 140 eligible of the food bags that contained a rice product, a juice product, a fruit product, and they were bagged up. They're pre-bagged, and then they're given to the students on their way out the door. So we go pick it up, and that's how we handle it. Yes.
Mr. Smith, have you had any feedback from anybody on this new program?
We'd like to make it grow a little bit more, because notoriously what happens when you do something in one building, you get the Me Too, what about me effect, what about me? But we found through the Breakfast in the Classroom program that we started about 5 years ago and is very successful. As you know, we do approximately 10,000 breakfasts. We're a universal program every morning, that the problems that you have with a small group, if you do the whole group at once, it's just, you can't handle it. So we're growing, we're hitting bumps in the road, we're addressing them, and we will get to everyone. So that's the plan.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. And that's all I have, Dr. Wanko.
Thank you, Mr. Smith, and I also would like to thank you for taking the initiative on this program. It was something that I felt was necessary, and I'm glad that we have it in Bayonne. I would just like to echo Dr. Degnan on the pre-K classes. They're all up and running very well. Everyone seems very pleased with the program, so we're happy that we were able to receive that grant as well. And that concludes my report. Any questions for me? Yes.
I just had one question on Dr. Degnan's report, in which one of the specialists that we had to school recommend outdoor activities and go out in the cold weather. And obviously, I'm not a medical professional, but I understand a lot of children in our system have various respiratory problems where they use inhalers and such. And I would like to just check with our medical director to see if that's appropriate. Children, especially those that have lung and respiratory problems, if that's really good for them.
And if they're properly dressed.
And she did make that recommendation that, of course, they are properly dressed, of course, we're checking advisories, and of course, it always goes to the principal of the school.
Right. And the nurse at the school, right? Okay, thank you.
But I could follow up.
Okay. All right, folks, I'll take us to the agenda. I'd like to point out on acceptance of communications, there's an addition that you haven't seen. Sherry Brenner, resignation, has been added to your packet. It's right before the state auditor report. Any specific questions on that resignation we'll have to do inside, but just be aware that we do have a resignation letter. Okay, moving along. Yesterday at 1 p.m., the curriculum committee met and did the whole agenda. And these are the same resolutions that were sent home to you. There have been no changes.
So can we just, are we gonna go through each one, or can I just ask questions?
We weren't, but if there's
No.
a particular item, you
Yeah.
can definitely ask questions on
Yeah,
it.
so, I have a question about C16. I have a question about C16.
Well, I'll get through A first.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start with curriculum instruction. Any particular questions?
Did I ask that question?
No.
So we're good? Okay, so the curriculum committee, I'll get a move in a second to sign these. Moving along to section B, which is budget and finance, I'd like you to turn to B15 and B16, which are add-ons. B15 is we're accepting a donation of $1,200. Donor choose, and it's going to the Bayonne High School Model UN program. And then B16 is our monthly resolution, appropriation transfers for the month of October. If anyone has any particular questions on that, I'll give you a chance to take a look at that. And also, the Secretary's report is included in your package of reports. If there's any particular questions you might have on any of the finance resolutions, but the Finance Committee met twice this month and went over the whole agenda, and other than those two resolutions, you've seen everything. Okay?
I'd just like to say that attending all those meetings, whether it's the finance, the personnel, and the curriculum, I just want to thank the committee members on all of those, because everyone seems to be working very hard. They ask some very difficult questions, especially at those meetings, and which is why sometimes it seems like when we're here, it doesn't seem like such a hard thing to do, because a lot of these things are ironed out at those meetings. So I think they've been working very well lately.
President Broderick, I just think at this point that a note of thanks should be sent to Arsh's father for initiating that $1,200 grant for the Model UN, specifically B15. It was through the father?
I will speak with Director Ward, and we'll have a thank you. We work closely with Mr. Ward, and you know that he was our Intel representative to the science fair.
Yes, I know. Thank you. Thank you is always great.
Okay, so moving ahead, I'm sorry.
President Broderick, I'd just like to make a comment, and the Board of Education expense account adjustments. Every month we get adjustments that come through here, and I just want to make a comment. In previous years, we've been noted for violating the 10% rule on any one line item during our audits. And over the last, I don't know how many months he's here, I see a lot of adjustments, and he's diligently working, straightening out the budget, straightening out all of the line items that are in here, and I think he's doing a marvelous job in getting things back on course, and he should be commended for his work.
I commend you.
Thank you.
I want to know who Loraz is.
Okay, at this time, I'll turn to section C, personnel, and I'll go through some of these resolutions. Resolutions C1 and C2 are going to be for inside. And you've all received these resolutions. C3 is our monthly resolution to various positions. C4 is a monthly resolution to coaches and advisors. And at this time, on C5 is our monthly harassment, intimidation, bullying report. I'll turn it over to Mr. Kopaz.
In accordance with Bayonne Board of Education Policy 5512, during the month of November, 4 incidents of harassment, intimidation, and bullying have been reported and investigated at the following schools. 1 incident at Lincoln Community School, 2 incidents at Washington Community School, and 1 incident at Nicholas Oresco School. In all 4 cases, there were no confirmed evidence of the investigated acts of HIB. Strategies, resources, and remedial measures were implemented. All documentation is being retained by the school anti-bullying coordinators.
Good. Any questions for Mr. Kopaz? I'll move ahead. C6 is additional personnel. It's a literacy boost, 100-book challenge. C7, additional personnel, the curriculum writing. C8, facilitators to professional learning community. C9 was personnel to academic reading and math support. C10 was personnel to the EFSA consolidated grant. C11 was PLC members. C12 was advisors to the robotics club. And C13 is an update to our Uniform State Memorandum of Agreement. Personnel met on Tuesday for about 2 hours going over most of these resolutions. Now, C14, 15, and 16 are going to be for inside. Okay, so if there's any other questions on any of the personnel resolutions, I'll move on to non-consent. We have 2 items. Approval to solicit bids, which is the 9th Street property. We've gone over this the last few months, and it's now on non-consent to either be approved or not approved. Also, D10, appointment of personnel of community education. Normally, this would be on a consent item, but there's a conflict with a trustee, so we move that to non-consent. Okay, and that is all I have for outside. Anybody else need anything? If not, we're going to adjourn and go into a closed session for legal, personnel, and negotiation items. It is 6:22. The board will return in the public meeting at the auditorium at approximately 7:30